Good evening, everybody. My name is Charles with Klecker Tactical, and this is episode 10 of Tactical Tuesday Talks. And tonight's topic is rifle setup. We are basically just going to go over my rifle setups. I have three different rifle setups here. Kind of each has their own purpose. One is actually going to be changing very soon, and I will actually be building a fourth to kind of bridge the gap between the two that I'm changing, and we'll go over that in a little bit. First, we're going to go over my first, the long range. This is my DMR or whatever. This is the one that I built in SDI. I did not do the best job with the lower. It is 80% lower. So, and I know we're going for live on YouTube. It's probably going to kick me off, but it's whatever. So this is a Aero Precision M5. Everything was from them. I got a 80% arms lower that I milled out for the armorer's course for school, and this is what I decided to go with. So it did have an M4 style stock on it, and an M4 style stock on a 308 just at the time didn't make sense to me. Now I'm fully wanting to make this another one to make a 308 battle rifle with a regular carbine stock, 18-inch barrel, just make it like a run and gun 308. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that's going to tie into the 308 is that one, this is finicky rifle. The AR platform originally was designed to be on a 308 7.62 platform, and it wasn't adopted for the 5.6 until Colt got the contract. Originally, Eugene Stoner's original design was basically 308 7.62 by 51. And it had some issues with this, so the Army didn't like it, whatever, blah, blah. Not like the issues weren't with the really rifles, just not what the Army wanted at the time. We can go into that, a whole other little Tuesday talk on just the AR itself. And I'm sure that I'd like to get maybe one of the guys from the AR-15 podcast to just love, because, you know, AR-15 podcast loves AR-15s, and we just love talking AR stuff. So purpose. First thing about your rifle setup is purpose. What are you using it for? Okay. So this one is like a DMR 308. This is a rifle that could potentially reach out to 800 plus to 1,000 yards with the right cartridge, if it's tuned right. I have not taken it out that far. I've only zeroed this to 200 yards and confirmed at 200. We'll go over real quick. This is how I have it set up. It's just a M-block free floated handguard with a Cadwell. It's just a standard bipod. A Vortex Diamondback Tactical 3 to 9x40. Nothing crazy. This is not the optimal optic to be able to put this rifle to its max. This is not matched to this. This was on a 5.56 DMR. They haven't upgraded the optic for this yet. So this just put on this momentarily. It still works. Ideally, I want a higher magnification for this rifle because the rifle exceeds the capabilities of the scope. So I have a Magpul Gen 3 PRS stock, which adds a lot of nice, good weight to the rear. The grip is just something that I don't have anything special. This is when I tried stippling myself. It's really nothing special. It's just a standard grip, standard trigger. Everything else is standard on this. There's, standard bird cage, nothing crazy. It's very simple. I don't shoot this one that often. This was kind of like, cool, I'm going to do some DMR stuff with a 308. I used to have a 5.56 and with a nice barrel. But I traded that to a friend who needed his first AR, and I've had that one for a while. Anyway, DMR stuff, designated marksman rifle. That's essentially what that means, right? So that was the purpose for this. That's this rifle's purpose. So let's go over each purpose first, the different types of purposes, and then we're going to go into which items on each rifle are going to benefit for the purpose. So DMR is one, home protection is another, plinking, competition, and then a battle rifle. Those are, in my opinion, like your main categories of your purposes for your rifle. That's what you're going to use it for. Hunting as well. I don't really have a hunting AR setup. I've got a different, which I guess we're not really going to focus too much on 100% on AR. So this is just I have the most of, and I have one in almost kind of every setup. I've got a CVA Scout single shot in 450 Bushmaster. It's really basic. Your hunting rifle setup is just basic: a scope, a sling, and that's it. That's it. That's your rifle for hunting. You typically, they're really basic and simple. You can get a standard scope and rifle package off the shelf, add a sling to it so you can carry it out in the woods, and you're done. So there's more going into purpose building ARs than any other type of rifle. I will say any kind of semi-automatic rifle, because you can go ahead and go into other different variants of the ARs and the gas piston stuff and the MCXs, MPXs, Jackals, all that fancy stuff. But those are the main purposes. That was my DMR. This one here was my competition gun. It still is going to be my competition gun. I recently had an LPVO on it. Actually, no, I did have the red dot on it for a while. So this is my competition rifle. And this is an 18-inch heavy barrel with a rifle length gas system. So this is, and I have an H2 buffer in it. This thing is tuned specifically to just barely cycle 55 grain. If this thing's not lubed like crazy, it will not cycle standard 55 grain. It'll have to be like 62 non-steel core, 72 or 75 match Botail. It'll have to have that for this thing to really run. It will run the 55, but it's finicky because of how I have it tuned. It just barely cycles. She runs like a champ, and I'm going to be taking the red dot off of this. I actually had a magnifier on it, which I never really used when I was shooting competition anyway, so it just was in the way and got rid of it. I'm going to be going to an LPVO with maybe a red dot offset. I do have some Troy Industries HK style backup sights. The HK styles are great if you've never looked through HK style flip ups. It's like that. It's nice. They're nice. Standard carbine stock. I do have a Bravo Company Stop Mod 3, I think. Trigger guard and grip with a med lever, CMC drop-in trigger, the Vortex Spark AR, 2-point sling, a cut-down MOE vertical grip, some other rails, and then I have the Triple Crown comp on there. Oh, this thing is baller. Oh, I hate using that word. I shouldn't have even said it. Yeah. If you know, you know who I'm talking about. I don't like that word. Anyway, moving on. This is a great device. It's like 30 to 50 bucks or something. Don't stand next to me with this. This pushes out one heck of a shockwave, but those nice big ports on the top, if you can see. This thing, every time I hand this to somebody, I go, first off, be careful. It's a 3.5 pound single stage trigger, no wall. There's like absolutely zero take up on that trigger. There's no recoil to this rifle. This thing is just tuned and set up. I got lucky with this. This was like my second rifle build, and I did it right. So this thing is great. This thing has no recoil. Every time somebody shoots at the first shot, they look over at me like, wow, it has no recoil. I'm like, yeah, I can shoot great. If my trigger finger was faster, I could shoot 30 rounds flat without having to adjust my sight picture with that. So that is my competition disc rifle. It's going to be getting changed up. This is my battle rifle. My battle rifle can be dual purposed as a home defense. However, we can go into that in another episode, but 5.56 for home defense, not a good choice in my opinion. 5.56 over penetrates a lot. So I would not recommend 5.56 for your home defense rifle. Unless you live on like a ranch and you're defending against predators, not the human kind. the furry kind. We still have to rephrase that. The four-legged furry kind. Okay, so if you're protecting your home against four-legged furry predators, 5.56 is a good round for you, especially a good varmint tip. I would recommend that. In the home, 12 gauge shotgun or like a 9mm PCC or a handgun, I think is your best bet. With hollow points, that way you don't over penetrate. You can, and just engage with your threat, take care of the threat, and you don't hurt anybody else. But this is the battle rifle setup. So I just changed some things on this. I just got them in. They are Temu mounts. We will talk about those briefly. I wanted to try them out for the cost of like $80. I was able to sample almost $900 in mounts. $700. It's like $700 in mounts to copy the Unity FPIC up mount, the Omni with a QD, and the GBRS Hydra V2. This is cast. This is not CNC. This is CNC. This is not cast. So this is a little bit better. But as you can see, it still gives me the same functionality. So I can try to test it and see if these fail, then I know they're junk, and I buy the real thing. But that way I can see if I like it first, buy the crappy Temu. This is a real EOTech. This is a Vortex BX, this is a Micro 3X. Yeah. So this one is the recent build. This is a 12.5 with this is a flash hider. I've got the Streamlight HLX with a Cloud Defensive rail mount with the dual pressure pad that comes with the Streamlight. A Strike Industries non-vertical for grip. This is a hand stop that is actually at like 90 to 85 degrees, so it's not vertical. Even though it doesn't matter because you're not the ETF, and I don't have to tell you what this thing is. This is my firearm. This is my gun. Doesn't matter to you. It's not yours, and you're not the one carrying it. I got a Strike Industries. I think this is a mod 0, mod 3. I don't know. K2 grip from Strike Industries. This is a trigger that every time I'm on the AR-15 podcast and we start talking about triggers, this is the trigger. This is a nickel boron enhanced trigger from PSA with a JP Enterprise spring kit. I think I've got the red or gold spring in it. Fabulous trigger. I would compare it to some really expensive, like $200 plus triggers, and I spent $75 total on or $83 for the whole trigger. So phenomenal there. But this is my battle rifle. This is my setup. This is the one that I'm taking to the Wolverine 5K this year. That's going to be fun. But this is going to be that rifle. So, kind of went over the 3 rifles that I have built, and that covers most of the different function or purpose builds that I have. Yeah, it's like RTT Guns and Gear said. There's a little bit of delay in the chat there, but 5.56 for home defense, no go. 9mm PCC superiority, I agree. 9x 9mm PCC on the docket for me to get is an PSA AKV. That gives me both a 9mm PCC and an AK, best of both worlds, all in one package, and it's great reviews, and that's what I'm going to roll with. And John over there at JB Holster Mod sets up. I don't know if you're still in there or not, but like I said, there's a big delay, and I haven't been looking at my phone to see who's in the chat. So next topic about rifle setup. There's a lot of stuff that I probably didn't have, and because I don't need it. I could have these rifles decked out with a whole bunch of crazy laser sighting devices and attachments and all this other stuff, but I don't need them. I have these basically stripped down to like what I need. My competition gun actually has too much stuff on it. My competition gun, I want it to be really lightweight and slick and go. And this 18-inch barrel, this is not fun to try to stabilize and hold. I'm going to go to a lighter weight rail. I'm going to knock a bunch of this other stuff off. I will probably still keep my irons, my backup sights, because I always put, I shouldn't say I always put backup iron sights on there, but I plan to. Um, just because the fact that optics can always fail, even if the good quality ones can fail. It's if they don't fail but they get broken or damaged, I want to have backups. This is a heavy girl to be running around with competition, but she shoots so flat that I would rather I can train to hold the extra couple of pounds, ounces really, that this rifle is compared to my other ones that would probably be lighter. Like someone's Daniel Defense rifle weighs probably close to half of mine. But I actually had someone with a DDM4, brand new, not cycle, and this hodgepodge thing that I had built after I lubed it up ran or circles around it. And I'm able to hold it up. I'm capable of holding this rifle up. I don't need it to be super light. I want it to be heavier, less felt recoil, a little more stable. That's my personal opinion. Going into a little bit about what I was talking about with like gadgets and gears and stuff and putting on this lasers and IR designators and things like that. I don't have night vision yet, so I don't need that stuff. I am set up for it, and that's what this rail here is for, is so that I can put a PEC 15. I'm going to scale this down to an XPS 3. That way it's night vision capable, and I'm going to get a PEC 15 eventually once I get nods. If I don't have nods, night vision goggles, I don't need it yet. So I am ready for it, but I don't necessarily need it at the moment. There's a bunch of other accessories that you can put on there that are just not needed. So don't waste your time and money putting stuff all over your rifle to make it look cool when you're not going to use it. But I will say there's 3 main things for your rifle setup. 3 main things that you should have regardless of what your purpose is. And that is optics, because you need to be able to see what you're shooting at. A sling, so you can carry your rifle wherever you're going, right? And my personal is a flashlight, because no matter what, you're going to want to be able to see something at night. Even your competition rifle, if you're doing night shoots, I do night shoots, I do day and night shoots, so having a weapon light on there is essential. Everything else is creature comforts and just tailoring it to you. Those are the 3 basic necessities that you need, and that goes for every rifle, even a hunting rifle. You can probably get away with the flashlight on a hunting rifle, unless you're doing predator hunts, and then you're going to want a predator light mounted on there if you don't have an a separate predator light designated for that. Let's talk about budget real quick though, because I hear that word thrown around all the time. Budget rifle, best budget rifle. You see YouTube thumbnails all the time. Budget this, budget that. Budget rifle is not a thing. Let me just say that. Budget rifles are not real. Okay, let me explain why. Budget is relative. If I make $100,000 a month, my budget is pretty big. If I put a budget of, I'm going to spend $10,000 on this rifle, but I don't want to go over 10 grand. That's my budget. But if I go, I need to stay under 1,000, like that's my budget. Those are 2 different wide ranges of budgets. I think the best, more accurate way to talk about this topic is bottom tier, average, and top tier rifles setups. And by tiers, I mean just quality overall of manufacturer and components. So Bear Creek Arsenal, that is a low tier, right? PSA, depending on who you ask, is lower to mid. I would say it's more mid. I think they're the new Aero Precision in my mind. I think they've almost set, Aero Precision used to be the one where that they set the standard for like the average rifle builder. Anybody who's been building rifles for the past like 10 years will tell you, Aero came out and they set the average standard for the average for a builder. They've gone up a little bit, and I think PSA has now filled that gap. And that, not to mention that PSA used to make their lowers until they broke off and they're all independent now. PSA now, I think, has set the standard for the average gun build. Good, not great. They get the job done for the average person. So I think that's where we're going to be at. Daniel Defense, with some other ones out there, Wyndham's not even. Well, Wyndham's is back, but there's a whole bunch of companies out there that just you're paying for a name. Daniel Defense is one of them. Daniel Defense is a company. I don't know too much. I'm not going to speak too much on that as a company, but as a brand, you're paying for the brand. I have put this rifle that I've got, I think, said and done, I think I have $1,200 into this. Everything. Everything like $1,400-$1,200. All modifications, everything from the whole build. That's how much. That's like entry level for a Daniel Defense with nothing else on it. So, and this ran circles around it. A brand new DDM4, this thing outperformed it. Just let that sink in a bit. So, does money buy nice things? Yes. Can you get nice things for not a lot of money? Also, yes. These Temu mounts. I didn't spend a lot of money on these. These are pretty nice. I'm going to bang them up and test them, and I will actually post a video on YouTube about these specifically, talking about, I'm going to bang them up, see if they hold zero. I'm going to take them on and off, see if they hold zero, especially the one with the QD mount. This one I would say would hold zero better because it's not a QD. QDs tend to have a little bit of variance. Not really, but as long as the keyways are machined tight enough to the pick rail to spec, it should hold zero. Obviously, magnifiers don't really zero, right? They do. They actually, if you didn't know that, you can use zero your magnifier. You're setting it on your optic, so we can see if that messes up and changes anything. And I'm going to see if really these, between the two, I have $60 in mounts. That would have been $350. Yeah, right around $700. I paid $60. So we'll see if that was worth that. I think it will be. That'll be interesting to see. I left my notes in the house, so I'm going off of memory here. So forgive me. So again, budget is subjective. Your budget for your rifle is set by your finances. Period. If you can afford to have a nice rifle built with nice equipment on it, then great. I personally would say buy the rifle you can afford. If you're not going to build, I build. I don't buy anymore. It's just better for me. I end up with less parts in a bin. I've already got drawers full of spare era parts that are just begging for me to build another rifle, and I will. But if you're not like me and you're not going to build and you're just going to accessorize, buy a rifle that fits your budget, and then swap out the parts that you think are going to be best for you. What is the parts I think, my personal opinion, as an AR armor, I guess, a gunsmith, a shooter, I would say that there's mainly two things that are key, important components that you would want to spend more money on. Anything else you can go cheap on, in my opinion. Barrels and bolts and bolt carriers, but mainly the bolt. Having those two items, making sure that those are good quality and don't chip out on them, you spend good money on that. That is the heart and soul of the rifle. Everything else has kind of been duplicated and copied, and everybody makes the same thing. A lot of them, like bolt carriers, are made by the same company. Toolcraft manufactures bolts for a bunch of companies. They just make it to that company's specs and put their logo on it. It's all manufactured in the same place. An AR lower. If it's a mil spec lower, it's mil spec. And we'll go into that real quick. Mil spec, commercial spec. Anytime somebody throws out mil spec with a rifle or anything, they automatically think that it's better quality and it's more durable. No, mil spec just means here's the guidelines that we put. Here's all the measurements. Anybody can make this component because this is the spec for it. Commercial says, we can have some variances because we don't have to follow that spec. Commercial spec has fluctuations. Commercial spec, each company can have its own different proprietary things. Like PSA is a commercial spec lower. Because if you've ever tried to put certain uppers to a PSA lower to try to mix and match, it doesn't always work out. So the pins don't always line up because they have their own spec. It's not always meaning that it is better quality. Military guys, if the guys they buy according to the lowest bidder They don't buy good stuff. Military grade is the biggest scam of the industry, of any industry. Oh, it's military grade. This bull crap. Military grade sucks. Anybody who's in there knows military grade stuff is held together with by tape and glue. There's some stuff that can take a beating, but it's generally pretty cheap crap. um, Again, let's say a BCG. That is one of the most important things. Anyway, mil spec and commercial spec. Picking which one. Mil spec to me means that you know it's going to have all your components are going to jive together. They're going to come work if you just match everything mil spec. If you go commercial spec, don't mix it. And this is just again my opinion. So as a gunsmith, seeing a bunch of guns coming in, they were hodgepodge together, and me attempting it the first time I ever built a rifle. If you're going to go commercial spec because there's more options, you tip sometimes. Make sure you're sticking with company. Match uppers and lowers. Like people will go, I want a keyhole, or I want a delta, or I want a triangle, or whatever on their uppers and lowers. They do that because it's for commercial spec. They want to match it. With mil spec, you don't have to do that. Everything is mil spec, right? So if you're going to do commercial, again, match companies best you can, at least with certain parts that are going to go together like that. Like don't mix bolt carriers and bolt heads. Don't mix bolts and barrels. If you change your barrel, change your bolt. If you change your bolt, check your headspace. Always. Anyway, we're not going to go too much into building. We're going into setup, right? So it kind of goes into setup. Building is setting it up, right? It's just setting it up from the from the ground up. And I'm trying to remember my notes here, guys. I forgot my notes. Your optics. Let's talk about optics for your setup. What are you trying to do with it again? Purpose. Red dots, LPVOs, rifle scopes, magnifiers, and a combination of all of those combined. Obviously, if it's a short range battle rifle like this, I don't need any fancy optics. The magnifier is not even necessary. I mean, I could probably take a 300-yard shot with this. I know I could. Am I going to? No. 100, 150. But and I can see 100, 150 yards with the EOTech okay, but I can see it a lot better if it's magnified by 3. And with this new setup, it's not really in my way. It's not off to the side of being a snag issue. So this isn't bad. Makes sense. For a competition gun, most competitions, if you're running a magnifier, if you're running a magnifier on, you have to stay in that configuration of the whole thing. You can't be switching back and forth unless it's a tactical games match. Then that's different. But most of them are like magnified or unmagnified. And most of your engagements are 25 yards, but they do have some that are out to 300. I would suggest for competition rifles to do an LPVO and either do canted irons or offset, either top or 45 micro red dot, like a pistol opted, like an RMR or something like that. That's my personal opinion. That's what I'm going to switch over on this rifle. The red dot's going away, LPVO, and I'm probably going to do something. I don't know which optic yet. It's either going to be Gideon or Viridian. Did not intend for those to jive so well and rhyme, but that's going to be what I'm going to do for this here. Long range, pick an optic that's going to fit the range you're intending to shoot and the proper caliber. So you have the proper BDC if you're going to utilize a BDC in your rifle scope. What else do we got here? For rifle setup, I mean that's really that is the bare down to the grit. What else do you need to know? Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about my other rifle setups, or if you have questions about your future rifle setup. I'm more than happy. Drop me a line. I'll help you walk you through. I've done it for quite a few people, helping them walk them through their first build. It's just my opinion based off of my experience. You can take it, leave it. Doesn't matter. I'm willing to give it to you. I have no problem. I will, if you want to, message me and talk guns. I'm a gun guy. I will talk your ear off with guns. Trust me. Again, match your purpose. Build your rifle for that purpose. quality. That was one of the things is quality of accessories. I got something here. Where are you at on iron sights versus red dots for short range? Um, Honestly, red dot. Um, dang. Uh, Depending on the iron sight, because these HK style sights, I like these better than the Magpul ones. These it opens up the window more. It's a lot easier. Kind of gives you if you ever shot an MP5 or anything like that, or a G36 or you know a 416 or anything like that. It's got the style sight. I really like it. I like the Ruger Ghost Ring sights. Those are really nice. So it depends on the iron sight for me because iron sights are typically lower. They're harder to for me to get up. A lot of people think that they're quicker and easier. I don't find that to be true, in my opinion. I like red dots because they're higher usually. They're easier to see, bigger windows, quicker, easy, both eyes open, boom, down on target. You can do two eyes open with iron sights, but not really, in my opinion. I have a hard time using both eyes open with iron sights. The HK ones aren't too bad, but nice thing about the irons though is you usually get a longer sight radius, so that can be beneficial. But my opinion is red dot. Iron sights are a backup, ultimately, like that's why they're a backup for me. I can use them if I have to, but they're not going to be my preferred go-to. Yeah, Magpul sights are trash. Even the new ones, like the new the Gen 3 ones I've held, I will say those are better build. They shrunk them down. They're better quality, a little bit less space. But I mean, I spent a little bit of money on the Troys, and I think they're a better backup iron sight. The other thing that's nice about these ones, I'll talk about it, is I don't like how they're not as easy to flip up, right? You have to actually, they're a bit hard to get to. But man, I will go get a hammer from the shop, and that will not break down unless you depress the button and flip it down. And the same for the rear. If I can actually see what I'm doing. These are solid rear sights. I don't even know if they make them anymore. I don't even think Troy Industries is even in business anymore. If they do, they're making minimal stuff. I like Troy stuff. I like their magazines. I like this stuff. I like their old handguards. Yeah. So to answer your question, red dots, iron sights again are backup. Quality of the attachments though. Don't go crazy on attachments. Like I said earlier, spend your money on the bolt carrier, the BCG, and the barrel. That's your heart and soul. Anybody can put it in train with a mil spec trigger. You don't need to go crazy with these triggers, unless you're building some bench gun and you want a 2.5 pound trigger that when you breathe on it, it goes off. Which I shot some. They're nice triggers. They are. Most people are going to outshoot their trigger, especially on a mil spec. If you want to smooth it up a little bit, you can change some springs out. You can polish some surfaces on a mil spec, and you can really take a mil spec and take all that grittiness out of it and completely change it. But triggers are not that expensive, so there's a pretty inexpensive upgrade that you can do. But for me, it's very minimal gain. Triggers can be used to shoot faster, but unless you are not fast, I've got a 3.5 pound single stage trigger, and I have buddies with mil specs that outshoot me. Probably because they're younger than me and their trigger fingers just move faster. Mine cramps up and like stutters and has like a little seizure. I'm not good with going really fast. Well, whatever. And then you got fixed irons. I'm not a big fan of fixed irons. I'm not a huge fan of fixed iron sights. I do want to build a retro build. I do want to build like a Car 15 retro. But it's something that'll be like nostalgic, and it's not like a shooter for me. So like my working guns, I don't like fixed irons personally. But that's the great thing about ARs and all the different combinations you can do with them is you can have. There's so many different combinations. You can just tailor it for yourself. They're great. But anyway, I was getting at with the inexpensive handguards. I don't have the rifle anymore. Well, handguards. This was the one thing I want to talk about. Spending a lot of money on handguards. $300. No, I think that's on the low end for a Geisley or some other super expensive handguard. Holy crap, they're expensive. Why would you need that expensive of a handguard? It's a heat shield. It's a handguard. Place to put your hand and some accessories. Why does it need to be so expensive? Well, if you're using laser aiming devices, you want to have a true machined, sturdy, like solid rail, so you're not losing zero. This is an old Trinity Force key mod, and I can tell you right now, when this thing's been beat up, it favors the right. This is not sit true. I don't have anything on here, and obviously it's zeroed for my backups, but they're just not a laser aiming device. If I get some POI shift with my iron sights, I'm not too worried about it. But this is not I've actually put a straight edge to it. This is not a good machined rail. It is not straight. I spent like $60 on this. No, 110. But that was like about 10 years ago. I paid $110 for that. These M5 rails from Aero Precision. These are $180 something rails. I think the 308 ones are a little bit more than M5. But what's nice about these is that they have an anti-roll. So I like the barrel nut better on this. Even though I have some issues with this rifle in particular, I won't go too much. Their barrel nut was cut wrong. Aero cut their barrel nut wrong. I had to use 2 packs of shims, which is way too much to be able to get this to time, because this is a semi-proprietary. I don't like this one. I'd get a different one. But anyway, it does have anti-roll in the handguard, which is a good feature to have. So I keep looking over here at my screen to make sure that I'm still in frame. I like this rail. I like how it has an anti-roll. This is more expensive. This is going to be a better machined rail. And I don't even have any expensive rails. I've got another one over here from Breek. This is a custom rail because it's an 11.7 on a 12.5. So that way I get as close to the end with a 12.5, but still being able to access my muzzle device. So this is a very specific length. Not very many companies make the length that I wanted for this. But I did get a blemished one because I don't care, because it was getting spray painted and I'm going to beat it up too. I don't care if it's nice. I am not nice with my stuff. I don't really have too many. My ARs are not safe queens. I don't have a single safe queen except for I don't have any. My 1911 was, and then I said, what's the point? I'm going to use all of them and I'm going to abuse them. So yeah, super safety could fix a lot of things. Yeah, I'm sure I might have to look into something like that and help me shoot a little faster, but I want to try to train my trigger finger to shoot more naturally faster. And that's the really thing is training a lot of that. You can buy all the bells and whistles on this crazy rifle, go to the range with a Daniel Defense and trick it out with Trijicon and Geisley and Timneys and all this other crazy crap. And then some dude's going to show up with a PSA with duct tape and that spent $2,000 in rounds to train with instead of stuff you didn't need, and just show you up at the range. But anyway, that's where these devices here, like from GBRS and a couple other companies, come in handy, in my opinion, is that this allows me to put my aiming device over top of the rail, not on the rail. So I'm relying on it. It's all one mount on the receiver, not mounting anything on the rail, mounting it on the receiver. That way my zero stays the same, and if this gets bent, damaged, and smashed or whatever, I still have good zeros. So that's a great device. That's another benefit of those. Let's see. Well, that's about it, really. I can't think of anything else. I'm probably going to look at my notes when I get back inside and go, I missed a whole bunch. So but really, it just comes down to set the rifle up for your purpose. I know I've said that a lot, but that's really the biggest point I'm trying to drive home is your rifle setup is based off of your purpose. There's no perfect setup. Don't judge other people's setup and be like, oh, that guy's got some garbage on it. No, that guy's got a lot of money. He might be a good shooter. Hey, if you looked at my stuff, you'd be like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And that's not the case. I mean, I might not know what I'm doing. That's probably true, but I know what I'm doing to a certain point. I mean, I've gotten uh, shots on paper every time. So hey, cool. No, really though, match your purpose to your rifle, or your rifle to your purpose, vice versa. However you want to word that. Next, we're going to go over. I should have done this at the beginning of the episode, but I need to go over a little bit of housekeeping stuff. On the holster side of the business, everything's doing good, doing great, except for I just broke 2 presses in 2 days. 2 in 2 days. I had built a monster of a press. It's been lasting me about 2 years. And a motorcycle jack with a black pipe frame, and I use that to compress to make some of our molds for our holsters that are still foam pressed because they are specialty in their custom, because we do a lot of custom stuff, so I still foam a lot. I broke one press. I pulled the threads out, tried to repair it. Broke that one too because I used the wrong threads again. Bought a new jack, got it all set up, got that one broke within like the first press. So Amazon special, got another one on the way, and we're gonna try this one. So as of right now, if you're listening and you have a holster order in, I apologize. We are working very quickly to try to get your orders out. I have a backup press, but it does not. It's my older one, and it doesn't produce the same quality of holster. And I want to give you the best quality holster. Any of these ones that are on delay, I'll tell you right now, there's probably going to be a little extra gift inside of those packages that are delayed past our lead time. I don't like missing my lead times. It stresses me out. It's not fair to you. I said 2 to 3 weeks for lead time, and I'm going past that. So I want to apologize to the customers out there that have orders in. We are going to get them out to you as soon as possible. The new press is on the way. So next thing on that is if you're in the Michigan area, then you want to come see us. We are going to be putting a page on our website here soon. Give it a little bit. We are actually switching over to a new host. Hopefully this weekend, trying to do it at night to make it seamless. But there will be a page where you can go in and you can see on our website our gun show schedule, as well as our shooting competition schedule, whether we are going to be set up as a vendor or we will be attending to shoot. You want to come shoot with us, you want to come compete with us, see if you're a better shot than us. I say us, but I mean me. Well, I do have, there's going to be 2 or 3 shooters that we do have on my team that I sponsor. Depending on the discipline that we're shooting, they will be there. So come hang out with us, come shoot with us, come see us at a gun show, come say hi. I will have that whole schedule for probably the next 3 months posted on the website, so you can go check that out. Outside of that, there's nothing news pertinent right now with the company. Everything's good. We are adding more product, new stuff. So just keep your eyes peeled and keep scrolling through our feed. We will notify you when we have some new items. Fanny packs are live on the website. That is the next thing. So Vertex fanny packs we have 2 different styles right now, and each one has 2 different colors. We are looking to find other fanny pack options, so we're not just limited to the 2. Those are just the ones that I had available to me for wholesale. There is some other ones that were cheaper, but they're cheaper. I might buy one to try it out and see how durable it is, but I know Vertex, and I know it's a solid one. I like the Vertex SOCP. I bought an Everly stock Bando XL, and I like the SOCP almost better. But anyways, fanny packs are live, the actual packs, and you can match that up with a fanny pack holster. And they're affordable. So I try to be the best, match the price the best I can. I can't guarantee I'm going to price match things, but if you find anything super cheaper, message me. We'll see what we can do for you. I'm always happy to work with you on that. Outside of that, guys, that is rifle setup. That is my setups for my rifles, my opinions and my thoughts about how to set up your rifles. Let me know down in the comments what you hated, what you loved, what you would do differently, what you would want to do. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to us. Next week's episode is going to be, I don't know yet because I have a hard time thinking that far ahead. So I will think of something. If you have an idea for an episode that you want us to talk about, or you want to get on here and you want to chat with us and debate me on something or whatever it is, I don't care. Shoot us a message, and we'd love to have you on and get you. The whole thing is to be engaging with you guys. I want you to give me some feedback. Come on here and chat with us. I'm 100% on board for that. But if you have a topic idea, put it down in the comments. Shoot us a message with it. If I get enough of them, we'll go ahead, and that's what we're going to roll with next week. As of right now, I'm not going to think of one. I've been kind of stuffy. I've got a sinus infection for the last couple of days. I don't want to think about the next episode yet. I will come up with something this week, and I'll let you know. All right.